Hello, I'm the Eternal Newbie. The extra L is for lofty, as in today's subject has a very lofty opinion of themselves. Today we're going to look at a brand new class created by yours truly, the Karen. If you've never heard the term, where have you been, under a rock? Basically, a Karen is a person who has an overdeveloped and underdeserved sense of entitlement. On steroids. Before I begin, this is something I made for fun and put almost no thought into balancing, so let's go ahead and take a look. The Karen. A woman is denied her right to breathe air freely. The manager offers to procure her items for her, but he cannot see that this is about more than that. This is about her freedom. A man has his name misspelled on his coffee cup. He spends the next 30 minutes chewing out the bartender. And everyone clapped. A group of teenagers are having a good time and making noise while a man is trying to watch his stories? This shall not stand. A meal comes exactly as the woman is ordered, but they forgot to put the dressing on the side? She's been there like 3 times. How could they not remember? The manager must hear of this. So if you're going to be a Karen, you got to be in the right mindset. A Karen lives by 2 tenets. 1, I'm never wrong. 2, I have earned it. Fun fact, Karens are always wrong and they've earned nothing. But you cannot just believe you are better than everyone else. You must feel it. Deep in that place where a soul would be, if you had one. When you create a Karen, you gotta ask yourselves the questions. You are better than everyone else, there can be no doubt about that. But where did this undeserved sense of entitlement come from? What is your end goal? Is it to make the world safe from people having fun, or merely to spread your misery wherever you go? Alright, let's take a look. I got a lot of cool little features here that I made up, and let's talk about them. I gave the Karen a D10 for hit die because I wanted to be a martial class, because we all know Karens are in the thick of things. The rest of this is pretty standard for a martial class, a half-caster type, except for weapons, we went with simple weapons and improvised weapons, because we know Karen's not going to take the time to train in a weapon, but she is really good at picking things up and throwing them, and swinging them. So I thought improvised weapons worked really well. Everything else down here is pretty standard. The features she gets at first level is Karen Fu and People Like Me. Karen Fu, you have spent years training your unarmed attacks, usually by flailing wildly at anyone who does not recognize your greatness. Between this and your sharpened nails, you are a force to be reckoned with. As such, your unarmed attacks do 1d4 slashing damage. Strength is your modifier for these attacks. Improvised weapons use your Karen Fu dice as well, and it increases like a monk die. People Like Me is kind of interesting, because I was trying to figure out a spell casting thing for Karen. She can't use intelligence because they're not smart. Can't use wisdom because, oh my god, they don't have wisdom. Charisma. So charisma fits, but charisma fits the opposite. So I kind of did a whole inverse thing here. Everyone loves and respects you, at least in your own mind, and that's what counts. You use perceived charisma to determine your charisma modifier. Adjust your starting charisma using the table over here. Your charisma modifier is the inverse of what it would normally be. For example, if your charisma is 6, your charisma modifier is now 2 instead of -2. When you reach an ability score improvement, you may use that to reduce your charisma instead of raising it, and any feat that would raise your charisma instead lowers it by the same amount. You, lucky you, suffer no ill effects from having charisma less than 1. And here's the chart, basically. So if you start out with, say, 17 charisma, your perceived charisma is 4, so that's what we set it to, and your charisma modifier is 3. Basically, it's the opposite of what it would be. For spellcasting, I took the Paladin spellcasting, changed a few words, and bam, now we have Karen spellcasting. Spellcasting ability. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Karen spells, since your power derives from the strength of your delusions. Yeah, it's basically that. And you can use your haircut or a mask worn on the chin as a spellcasting focus. Alright, at level 2 you get anti-vax. Your anti-science stance has led your body to becoming a polluted mess. Luckily, you're just a carrier, so you suffer none of the ill effects of these diseases. As a bonus action, you may lick one-hand or weapon. The next time an attack hits with your tainted hand or weapon, your target must succeed a DC 13 Constitution saving throw or become diseased. Roll a d4 to determine which disease your target contracts. Cackle fever, sewer plague, sight rot, or bubonic plague. Ability score improvements are pretty much normal. Extra attack at level 5. At level 6, you get help on being oppressed. Starting at level 6, you have mastered the art of passive and not so passive resistance. Enemies have disadvantage to grapple or restrain you. You have advantage on saving throws to escape grapples. Level 7 is Creepy Smile. You just want to be friends, and as such you may use an action to smile brightly at a target. That target must succeed a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or become frightened of you for 1 minute. The creature may repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. You can use this number of times equal to your charisma modifier and get him on a long rest. At level 10, here we go. Do you know who I am? You're famous or infamous? Who cares? Infamous. Infamous. Infamous, you say. Sorry, Three Amigos joke. Who cares? You now have advantage on all deception and intimidation checks. In order to use this ability, you must start each intimidation or deception check with some form of the phrase, "Do you know who I am?" or "Do you know who my spouse is?" At level 11, you get your Karen Screech. All creatures within 30 feet of you must succeed a DC 15 wisdom saving throw against your inhuman wail. On a failed save, creatures are stunned until the end of your next turn. Any deafened creature passes the save automatically. Allies, this counts for them too, but after they've heard it once, they have advantage on the save, and after they pass the save 3 times, they're immune to it from then on. Due to the heavy strain this puts on your vocal cards, you may do this only once per long rest. Oh, here we go. You get the haircut. And it is the haircut. The haircut, I think, is level 12. Yep, at level 12, you get the haircut. You have now accepted the Karen lifestyle with all your heart and have committed yourself to the Karen ideals of stomping out all joy in the world. To signify this, you take the Karen haircut. This lowers your charisma by 2 and gives you a +2 to AC when not wielding a shield. So basically, I took away an ASI and I've made you take -2 to charisma. Might need to throw something in there saying you can't get below 20 with that, or below 0 with that. Yeah, I'll do that. Do your research. You may not know the answer, but that won't stop you. At level 14, you automatically pass a knowledge check. You do not gain this knowledge, but your wrong answer is treated as a correct one. For example, if you're solving a riddle and it depends on a successful history check, you solve the riddle with the wrong answer. You can use this feature twice. When you finish a long rest or short rest, you get them all back. Alright, now we're getting to it. At level 15, you gain the PTO meeting ability. So, you are now the Alpha Karen. You are recognized as the foremost among the Karens, and as such, you can call a PTO meeting summoning 4 CR1 Karenettes to your side. They follow your instructions and act on your turn. You can only do this once per long rest. So, they are basically repurposed direwolves, almost, with a few extras added in, like multi-attack. They have pack tactics, but only with other Karens or Karenettes. They can Screech, and they can do a cantrip. Wow, these might actually be a little higher than CR1. I might have to bump that up. At level 18, you get Send It Back. You know how Karens love sending things back. Well, this time they can send an attack back. They can reflect any attack that would have hit you back to the attacker. This attack hits the attacker regardless of armor class. Once you've used this ability, you can't use it again until you complete a long rest. And at level 20, you get the Piece de Resistance. Call the manager. You did not just roll 1. Oh no, that's a 20. That is definitely a 20 I just rolled. So on a failed roll, it is automatically a 20. The ability can be used a number of times equal to your charisma modifier and refills on a long rest. Then I just threw some Karen spells in there. Karens get 1 cantrip, the Complaint cantrip, which is complaints and you hurt a creature within range. It takes 1d8 psychic damage. This goes up like a normal cantrip. I renamed a few spells, but here's the Karen spell list if you want to take a look at it. So, that's my Karen. Big thanks to Dirt and Adam for helping me find my stupid little mistakes on there. Appreciate it, buddy. If you see any more that we missed, let me know. So, that was the Karen. What do you think? Would you like to see more stuff like this? Let me know in the comments. This one was fun to make, but it was kind of tricky to put together, especially since it was my first time making one of these things. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, play your character. Don't let your character play you. Oh, and if you happen to be a Biff fan, don't worry, he'll be back next episode.